if you don't do that, you come to the customer, and for Vision Cats, you say, okay, now I have to make a new client. And he says, here at our PC, you can't do a new client. We are not allowed to do that. And then you say, yeah, but IQOQ. Then you have to yeah, your position is then rather weak because you come just and say, I want to. But if you did that, and then you say, yo, but here you have the procedure because you have a copy of the SOPs. You have seen here, you read it through, for sure. but then you can say, here you had it, and I had, here it stands, I have to make a new user. So if you can't make a user, bring me the guy who can. And then, so you have a complete different position than if you would have, oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot to tell you that I have to, oh, sorry, can we somehow? So it is just, your position is a little different if you have that already said. You can always say, oops, oh, you didn't read it. Yeah, now, oh, we have to find a solution now. And then
let's ask your manager.
Oh, very good. So, I think that's the last thing you want to ask. This is the guy who is checking your work. So therefore you should somehow stay on a good level with him. but sometimes it's really, you have to. You just have to say, okay, if we don't find a solution, we have to go for maybe the manager or QA. So usually when it comes to questions like, oh, do we have to make a qualification after? I say just, yeah. We can say it is like that. We think it is not needed, but at the end, your QA department is saying what we have to do, and your financial department has to pay them. Usually. So only after having these two signatures, the CCBS performs the qualification job. Yeah, that's what I said. So usually you should get it back. We are not that strict in terms, if it is a repetitive OQ, then we send these documents because that they have the latest versions, but we are not insisting on sending it back. Or so if they don't send it back, we just say, is it okay? Yes, and then we go. It's something like, if you do it repetitive, you don't have to be that strict.
Yudi? Yeah. Just quickly going back to like the revisions, obviously you mentioned that sometimes it's for software changes and things like that. I have customers that always want to have like the latest version of the document. Is in the history, is it written like, when you obviously, you normally put in the revision history, so version 11 and the changes, is there a section that says this is not suitable for, this makes this document not suitable for versions?
No.
XYZ, no.
The reason for that is that you can't tell that always. The thing is, the latest version is referring to the latest, made in software version is then different. And this is really giving me a big headache this time, because Vision Cats is changing. And they are changing sometimes just the wording. But they do not tell me that because they think, yeah, we just changed the wording, and I have documents which are, so you will find sometimes something like, we had one thing is with licensed. So at the beginning of Vision Cats it was license available, and now new it is licensed. So you will find in the document it says, is the status license available, yes or no? And strictly you would have to say no, because the value is licensed and not license available. But these are mostly small things. So therefore, but I can't really say yes, it is going for this, and that version it is not working, this version it is working. So the thing is, you should always use the latest, but it can be either if the customer is using an old version. This can give some troubles, but I would really advise to don't try to go back with the old version and then maybe the old document, an old software qualification. This gives sometimes some other troubles. So rather to make a note saying, okay, this is a new document, software is an old version. And with Vision Cats, I think that the problem is not that big as with WinCats. With WinCats, the customer had to pay for an update. So therefore, a lot of customers still are working with 1.34 or something like that, which is a version from 2005 or something like that. With Vision Cats, it is more, it is free of charge. You can update at any time, and therefore we assume that, and we also push the customer, and I hope you push the customer to update to the latest version if possible. But it can be that there is some difference, and then you have to say, okay, there is the deviation page saying, okay, customer is not using latest versions, therefore this looks a bit different. So scanned documents, pages, and scanned signatures are not allowed. I just did write that or left that in here. Let me say that like that. I left it right there. This is theory, and in practice we scan. As I said already, mistakes can happen. There is no issue at all about that. As Sam said, sometimes it gives some authentic feeling that if there was some error, it must be done in accordance with GDP rules. So strike through the wrong information just once. Don't obscure wrong information. Wrong information must be still readable. Do not use correction fluid or JPEGs, so this is really, should be clear. Write the correct information next to the strike-through information, initial and date the correction. So the left side, our documents are on the left side have a lot of space. That's one reason for that. On the left side you have space, you can strike through the wrong information and I don't know, where the correction is not really clear why it was done. So if you just write something and you wrong, and then you strike it through and write the word correct, so everybody is seeing yes, he did some. Yeah. But if there is if you have a scanner acceptance criteria of 1.8 and you write 1 or 2.8 and then you strike through and put a 1.3 in, it seems some, the first one was missed, the second one is passed, strange. And there you would have to explain it. So you would have to say, enter it from the wrong information or whatever. So therefore, if somebody could think, why has he done that? You have to explain. If it is clear, if it's just a miswriting or something, then you just can strike it through and change it. Yeah, add an explanation where reason is not clear. Reason for change may be change request. So also, if the customer tells you, sorry, in our company you can't write it like that, you have to change that. So maybe you can say, okay, change request, or a typo error. So if you made the comma at the wrong position or something like that. So the most important thing is that independent reader must be able to understand why the change was made. So, as a general rule. So okay, here we have a good example. So you see my handwriting. So what are the problems here?
Date.
The date. And yes, here,
And
date.
at the bottom.
And bottom here, yes. Okay.
No ID.
Yes, the ID is missing.
Scratch.
Joseph Scratch.
Yes. Anything else?
I think you missed.
The table is blank.
Yeah.
Date.
Yeah, the date here is not correct.
You haven't
Sign
crossed out
signature.
section 6, although you've said yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
So, okay, no document ID, wrong date here and here. Crossed out, section not crossed out here. So, this would be correct. So, also date is 2013, not only 13. Here I have the ID. We usually use the ID year, month, day. So this has nothing to do with the date. So this is just, we want to have a unique number. And the unique number is a date. If you do the same document at the same date twice, then you have to think about something like -1 or so. It could be also possible that, as I said already before, that the customer tells you, no, we have for our qualification procedure, we have internal numbers, put this internal number here. Also fine for me, as long as it is unique.
So
Here crossed out.
that's if you do the same, 2 scanners.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
2 scanners. So you will have, if you do a scanner, ATS4 and software, you will have, for IQ and OQ, you will have 6 times the same ID, but on different documents. So that is also fine. But as soon as you have the same document, you should do something like B or -2 or whatever. So this, I usually do a -2. Do not write on the back of the document, that could be missed easily, so therefore also print out, you print out now the document by your own. Until 1.5 years ago we did send you the documents, which was quite complicated. And on the back side, so there was one-sided printed, so also print out your documents one-sided, not double-sided. Write neatly, do not scribble, the information must be readable. I always have to think about that by myself. I really slow down sometimes. Do not use scrap paper or post-it notes. If you have, there are certain things, sometimes you just need an additional page for some reason. Also this is no problem. You have to write on top the SOP, the ID, date, and then you have to do some page 16. If there are 15 pages, you say page 15 or something like that. And at the deviation, you say, because of that and that, we made an additional page 16. So therefore, it has just to be, you have just to declare or to inform why you did it, and then it's no issue at all.
So two-side printing is allowed for Camag SOPs to print both sides.
The thing is, we would say no. If the customer is okay with that, yeah. But have you done already the new one, the new IQ OQ documents where you have an instruction part and a result part?
No?
You will see that. So then you have best you do it with 2 staples. Then here you have the staple with the instruction and here the result. And if you then have two-page thing, then you have to flip it over here, flip it over here, then put it back here. That will be, I think it gets a little more complicated.
Okay.
And if you have back and forth then to put it all together, we say no.
Yeah.
If the customer says you should do it, you can do it, but without good reason you shouldn't do it. we reduced also the number of pages, so therefore there are these huge IQOP documents with 40 pages, they are really reduced. So the largest they have about 20 pages. So it's not.
I went to a customer and they asked me to do, the page, to print in one page, in one sheet, sorry, and I also choose recyclable paper. Because the environmental stuff, they need to fulfill. No?
Yeah, sure. If they have something like that, and then say, look, we have an SOP to say we have to use environmental friendly paper, recycled paper, and we have to use double printed,
Erasable.
fine.
Sorry? No,
Erasable.
Reusable. So now, but that's a very good example. So if they say you have to print on both sides, yes. If they ask you to make it a pencil that you can use it next time again, same document, no. So, but that's a really good. So on certain things, it's for me it's no issue if you print it double-sided. It makes it a little more complicated on performing it or so, but you can do it because it doesn't change in the result. But if you do it with a pencil to erase it for next time, so this would be for sure not the right way to do it. So. When you're executing test specifications like IQOQ, do not change test description, acceptance criteria, or expected results without a very good, valid reason. So therefore, there are two things in there. So one thing, do not change, and if you change, have a good reason. So therefore, what I mean is exactly the same thing. You can do certain things, and other things you can't. So what you could do is, a good example is ATS4. If the customer has no contact needed, if the customer never uses contact, he can tell you, come on, skip this, we don't need that. And you can say, why not? I skip that, then I would cross it NA, and I would describe on customer's request. I always, if I do something like that, I write on customer's request. That it is sure it's not coming from you, it is coming from the customer. And then you can write, okay, no contact used at the customer, therefore left out this test. No issue with that. If the customer comes and says, yeah, look, we don't use the scanner really quantitative, so yeah, acceptance criteria, yeah, put it to 5%, it's okay for us. Then you have to say, no, because Camag says the instrument is working fine when it meets this 2.1%. If not, then it is not working correctly. So therefore, you can't change this criteria. So therefore, you can change certain things, but for sure acceptance criteria you have to say so. The real figures like 2.1, 8.1% or something like that, you have to keep. The other ones, if they ask, yeah, to leave that out, why not? Close out or strike through empty feeds by NA. Don't leave them open. The tester has to sign off for execute tests. No other person may sign tests not performed by himself. The meaning is also there if the temptation is big, if two people are there, maybe Nigel is coming with you, or so you perform the test and then say yes, test is okay, and Nigel is writing. So usually that's typical. So one guy is writing, strictly seen again, this is not correct because somebody is signing that it is okay, that did not perform the tests. Therefore, strictly seen, you should do it by your own.
What if you're overseeing someone do it? Say in that example, like Nigel was doing it, but I'm with him, so he gets some experience, but I'm watching everything he does and instructing him. Still the same?
It would be okay if he's doing everything by himself, but the problem would be there that if you really take this, so he doesn't have IQOQ certificate, so therefore you would struggle at the point, is there your personal IQOQ certificate? But if you say, yeah, he has now a test, but he would like to see if he can do it right, that would be okay.
Yeah.
And therefore, really, I have to say, as I said, strictly C. It's clear for me that maybe okay, you have apprenticeship or you have somebody new and you want to go with him together. For me, it's not an issue in terms of it is completely wrong or so. I think more, maybe you have to also to inform the customer and say that we are doing that together or so. Is that okay? You don't have to tell him, oh, he is new and I'm not sure if he can.
He can't read.
So maybe you can just inform, okay, we are doing that together. Is that okay for you? And if you have this yes, then if somebody comes and says, hey, what he did now, and then you say, yeah, but we informed that this. But strictly seen, you have to sign for tests you did by your own, not somebody else. Document each deviation properly in the deviation list. When there is a deviation list at the end, just to inform, yes, I had this and this problem occurred. The countermeasure was, I did that. The result was, it was working fine. So therefore it could be that at the ATS4 self-test, you see that the syringe is not tight, and then you change the syringe. The thing is that if, with Vision Cats now, if they look up the log file of the diagnostics, they see, oh, he performed 2 times the diagnostics, why that? And then they go to the documents and they say, oh, he did it and it failed, we see that here, and then he changed the syringe, redid the diagnostics, and then he passed, so everything is fine. No problem with that. If you don't do that, they just see, oh, he performed an IQOQ at this date, and there were 2 diagnostics. One was missed, one was okay. Strange. We do not have, it is not reflected in the papers. So therefore, it's also a little bit with wing cats. You could do something like that, because the old tests were not stored somewhere, so they just, you printed it, or you didn't print it out, you just performed it and said, ooh, missed. You fixed the problem, you read it, and then you took this printout and said, yes. With Vision Cats now, the history is in the software. So therefore, somebody is seeing, yes, oh, there was a second one. So also, still, you can do, if you see there is a miss, you can say at the end, you can say, no, I do not accept the results, I redo. Then this one is not taken into the history. But just as general, try, there's nothing wrong about the deviation. Even if now the customer says, yes, ATS4, no contact, I would write that in deviation. Because exactly as Sam said, I think this is really giving a good impression. If you have a deviation, normally, I have to say normally, it gives good impression because you have a deviation, you had some differences to the normal way you do it, so you informed, or you do inform the guy who is reading that afterwards that there was a difference. Sometimes there are some customers, not in Switzerland, I don't know in Switzerland, but in Asia, sometimes there are customers, they are not allowed to have a deviation. So they say, no, don't put deviation on it, because I think they have a huge procedure behind that. If they have a deviation, they say, then we have to fill out a deviation form, and then we have to fill out that, and so therefore then no deviation at all. So
I always ask customers what they would consider, if they would consider it a deviation.
Yeah.
So do you think it's a deviation? They'll say, no, it's just part of the procedure or something like that, so don't write a deviation.
Yeah, so yeah. The thing is, yeah, I would first, as I said, I would first ask the customer before you write a deviation, because it could be that they have to do a whole lot of work behind that if they have a deviation. But the thing is, in our deviation, it is So you have a deviation, you have a countermeasure, and you have the result. The result should be, now it is okay. So therefore, it is just a deviation in the process itself, and this, if it is written, it is solved usually. Because if it's not solved, then you stop the qualification and you do not go on. So multiple page forms documents are tied and saved together. Don't record GMP data in personal notebooks. So if you have some data in your personal notebook and this is crashing, then it is most likely that you have to repeat the whole qualification. He's an Australian guy. He is most likely he's walking barefoot. Oh no, now he has shoes on. So most of the time he is walking barefoot. It is summertime, and he is always singing. He has headphones on.
If he's Australian, he's probably drunk.
Australian, yeah.
He's probably drunk.
No, he's always like that.
Okay. Exactly.
So don't use detail marks. So that's clear. You have to write the value. So before we go, one of my favorites is NA versus no. We do some 10 minutes of break.